is DWAN 1206 AM, the future of AM radio. A member of the kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Join us as we uncover the stories behind every game-changing moment with Bill Velasco. Get ready to dive into the heart of sports because it's time for your favorite sports step into the spotlight.
Isang napakagandang umaga po sa inyong lahat mga teammates. Ito po ang Hardball with Bill Velasco. Ang oras po natin 11:01.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Yan po ay Miyerkules, June 12, maligayang araw ng kalayaan mga teammates.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Mamaya tutukan ang ating eksklusibong panayam sa dating PBA player at coach na si Alex Compton na ngayon ay isang manunulat na rin ng isang libro na pinamagatang The Wisest Learners, Guiding Your Child's Athletic Journey. Tungkol po ito sa mga dapat gawin ng mga magulang at mga pagkakamali na nagagawa natin sa pagpapalaki ng ating mga anak. Lalong-lalo na pag nasa sports po sila, baka hindi natin alam na may mga nagagawa o nasasabi tayo na nasasaktan yung mga kabataan.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Abangan din ang ating naging kwentuhan kasama si Coach Eddie Torres ng Philippine Powerlifting Team para pag-usapan ang naging kampanya ng bansa sa Asian Juniors Powerlifting Championship at Asian University Cup.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Pero bago tayo magpatuloy, sundan kami sa aming mga social media accounts sa Facebook, DWAN 1206 AM, sa YouTube, DWAN.1206 AM, sa TikTok at DWAN 1206 AM, at sa Instagram at DWAN 1206 AM.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Sa ulo ng ating mga balitang sports ngayong Huwebes, sa NCAA, nasungkit na ng Arellano University Chiefs ang kanilang kauna-unahang men's volleyball championship matapos nilang talunin ang Colegio de San Juan de Letran 24-26, 25-21, 25-15 at 25-17 sa Game 2 ng Season 100 Finals kahapon sa Phil Oil Center sa San Juan City. Tinanghal bilang Finals MVP ang graduating opposite spiker ng Chiefs na si Carl Berdal matapos ang kanyang 16-point performance kahapon. Samantala nakuha naman ng College of St. Benilde ang bronze medal matapos silang manaig laban sa Mapua University 26-24, 8-25, 25-20 at 25-20.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Samantala sa Women's Finals, matagumpay na naiuwi ng College of St. Benilde Lady Blazers ang kanilang ika-4 na sunod na NCAA title matapos nilang dominahin ang Colegio de San Juan de Letran Lady Knights 25-19, 25-22, 25-19 kagabi. Nagpose ng 9 na puntos ang tournament at finals MVP na si Micah Go sa kanyang huling laro para sa Lady Blazers. Nitong nakaraang linggo lang nang piliin si Go ng Zeus Coffee Thunderbells bilang ika-17 pick ng Premier Volleyball League 2025 draft. Pinangalanan naman bilang Coach of the Year si Coach Onyok Getigan ng Benilde matapos niyang pangunahan ng universidad sa kanilang ika-4 na sunod na women's title.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Sa volleyball pa rin, buhay pa ang semi-final hopes ng Alas Pilipinas national team matapos nilang walisin ng New Zealand 25-17, 25-21, 25-18 sa pagpapatuloy ng Asian Volleyball Confederation o ABC Women's Nations Cup kahapon sa Hanoi, Vietnam. Nakabawi ang mga Pilipina mula sa kanilang dikit na 5-set loss sa Iran 25-16, 21-25, 26-24, 23-25, 13-15 noong Lunes. Parehong umiscore ng tig 12 puntos sina Vanessa Gandler at Ea Laure para sa Alas na kasalukuyang nasa ikalawang pwesto sa Group B, dala ng kanilang 3-1 record. Sunod na mga kalaban ng koponan ng top-seeded Kazakhstan mamaya.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Samantala patuloy naman ang ratsyada ng Alas Pilipinas men's team matapos nilang maungusan ng South Korean team na Hyundai Capital 25-22, 22-25, 25-21 at 25-20 sa ikalawang araw ng Alas Pilipinas Invitationals kahapon sa Smart Araneta Coliseum. Umiscore ng game-high 20 points mula sa 17 attacks, 2 service ace at 1 block ang team captain ng koponan na si Mark Espejo. Matapusin ng mga Pilipino ang kanilang kampanya sa nasabing 3-day invitationals bukas laban sa national team ng Thailand. Ang nasabing torneo ay parte ng paghahanda ng Pilipinas sa kanilang napipintong hosting ng FIVB Volleyball Men's World Championship sa Setyembre.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Balik tayo sa collegiate sports. Pasok na sa finals ng Pinoy Liga Collegiate Cup ang National University Bulldogs matapos nilang manalo kontra sa Jose Rizal University Heavy Bombers 71-63 kahapon sa Enderan College Gym sa Taguig. Nanguna para sa Bulldogs si Jello Santiago na umiscore ng team high 24 points na sinamahan pa ng 6 na steals. Hindi naman naging sapat ang 15 points ni Sean Argente para sa Heavy Bombers. Makakatapat ng Bulldogs ang Adamson University Falcons sa Winner-Take-All Championship na magaganap bukas, June 13.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Sa PBA, sumandal sa isang fourth quarter comeback ang Converge Fiber Xers para malusutan ng San Miguel Beermen sa isang dikit na panalo 100-97 kagabi sa pagpapatuloy ng Philippine Cup sa Ninoy Aquino Stadium. Pinangunahan ng point guard na si Shawnee Winston ang comeback fight ng Converge matapos niyang umiscore ng season high 25 points. Kabilang ang 5-0 personal run sa huling 5 minuto ng laro na nagbigay ng kalamangan sa Fiber Xers 99-93. Dahil sa panalong ito, muling nakapasok sa twice-to-beat contention ng 7-4 na Converge sa likod ng NLEX Road Warriors, San Miguel Beer at Magnolia Chicken Templados Hot Shots.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Time out muna tayo sa Balitang Sports. Muling inaanyayahan ng PAGCOR ang mga tagapakinig natin na amateur at professional photographers na lumahok sa PAGCOR Photography Contest 2025 na may temang Infrastructure for Economic Development. Bukas ang kompetisyon sa lahat ng Filipino photographers na may edad 16 pataas. Maaaring magsumite ng photo entry sa ilalim ng 3 kategorya, ang conventional, mobile at drone. 8 grand winners ang pipiliin ng PAGCOR sa bawat kategorya at hanggang July 31, 2025 ang submission of entries.
This is Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Ang oras po natin ngayon, 11:09. Hatid sa inyo yan ng PAGCOR. Sa ating pagbabalik, makakasama natin ang dating PBA player at head coach na si Alex Compton na manunulat ng isang librong Wisest Learners Guiding Your Child's Athletic Journey. Huwag kayong bibitiw, magbabalik pa ang
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
Do you have a gambling problem? To know more about PAGCOR's responsible gaming program, including its player exclusion program, visit www.pagcor.ph/regulatory/responsible.ph. A message of concern from the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation.
Tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At ngayon, labis na kinagagalak natin makasama dito sa studio ang isang matagal na nating kaibigan at matagal na rin hindi nakakabalik sa Pilipinas. A new book author. Walang iba kundi si Alex Compton. Welcome back home, Alex.
It's great to see you, Bill. Salamat na marami. At para sa mga walang alam, hindi kami magkakapatid. Hindi ko kuya yan.
So, I understand that you've written a new book and that's one of the reasons you're in the country.
Yeah. So, yung kaibigan ko, si Kevin Delafu, naglaro din siya dati sa PBL. Pero sandali lang. Tapos pumasok siya sa education. And, well, it all really started. A friend of mine from UP, who has his PhD, wrote a book called Wisest Learners for Parents.
Okay.
And ang premise nun is gusto niyang tulungan yung mga magulang with the best way to say it is a holistic learning model for kids to help them understand how their kids learn better. And then he wrote that for parents, para sa mga teacher, para sa mga bata. And then tinanong niya ako, do you want to write a book for parents of athletes? So then we talked, Kevin and I talked. It took about a year and a half.
Wow.
You know, because sports, I'm sure you've seen it. And I actually had the pleasure of coaching Vince a little bit, right?
And my son,
So a lot of parents, minsan, sobrang intense ng emotion natin. Nadadala din tayo, di ba? So it's used some psychological principles, yung mga ibang story namin, just as a way to hopefully be a guide and help parents think a little more intentionally kung paano sila pinapalaki ang mga anak nila.
Okay. There's a movement like that in the United States, right? I think Phil Jackson and Cal Ripken are involved in that. Is to keep parents off the referees and umpires. Why do you think it is that parents think they know better than the coaches?
Well, because nung pinanganak pa lang yung mga anak natin, we have to do everything for them, right? So, kumbaga tayo din mga magulang, meron din tayong mga developmental stage.
Okay.
Kailangan bumitaw konti, di ba? Unti-unti. Bumitaw. But it's hard. And you have dreams and there's really, I'm sure it's the same for us, both of us. There's not much that you love more than your kids.
Of course.
And you want to protect them.
Yeah.
And so a lot
with
of
all
times,
due respect to spouses.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, I'm sure they'd say the same about us, right? I love you, but I love them more. So because of that, yung emotion natin, sobrang intense naman. And minsan lumalabas na, refero ka ba naman? You know, or, hoy, shoot mo. Pero sabi ni coach, etong play. So, you know, there's a lot of things that if we can partner with coaches, but also, you know, just controlling our own emotions, but then also understanding kung saan talaga yung mga anak natin sa developmental stage nila.
Okay.
So, anong talagang tama para sa kanila sa ganitong edad?
Okay.
Right? What's the best ways to approach this? Tapos, paano ba tayo nag-uusap? How do we ask questions sa mga natin? Oh, ginawa mo yan, anong nakita mo? Which is a really nicer way kasi you're drawing something out of the kid. Kailangan mag-isip siya, imbis na, ba't ginawa mo yan? Mali! It's a whole different thing. And everybody means well. Lahat tayong mga magulang, we want what's best.
Okay.
So sometimes there's just ways and methods that we wrote the book, hopefully we can be a help.
Does this apply, hindi, you know, sa mga magulang lang na dating athlete or frustrated athlete na gusto nila yung marating ng anak nila yung hindi nila narating, or is it for all parents?
Ang akin, so like I'll use the NBTC as an example. So it's also the main reason actually I'm really here is for the NBTC. But there's 15,000 plus players in the NBTC. Sabihin natin, maging generous tayo. Sa 15,000 na yan, 40 ang makakapasok sa PBA.
Yeah. Marami na yun.
The NBTC, kaya nga that's a generous offer, di ba? So let's say of the 15,000, 40 make it. The league is actually for the 15,000 first.
Yes.
And the 40.
Okay.
Right? So it doesn't mean, kasi there's things you can get in sport that you cannot get in math class.
Yes.
Right? How often did you walk into your son's math class and go, oh, come on, 49, the square root of 49, 7, yes! He did it, right? But in a basketball game or in a sports,
I used to watch all
ganun
the
tayo,
time.
di ba? So it's really, there's a different level of emotion.
Yes.
And because pati yung mga anak natin, they get so emotional about the game.
That's true.
We can use that emotion to help teach them character. They can learn lessons. Tapos lahat man tayo dadaan sa mga pagsubok, di ba? You just told me I didn't know what you went through. I'm so glad you look great.
Thank you.
But di ba, it's coming.
Yeah.
We're going to go into a hard situation. Sports is a safe place usually.
Yes.
Walang mamamatay. You're 8. I know it's sad. I know it's painful. But you'll be okay. So it's like a good place to learn how to process your emotions, and for both parents and kids. Yeah.
How did you decide to format the book? Ano yung pundasyon? What was the framework for the book?
So in talking to Wallace, Dr. Wallace Panlilio, siya yung unang author sa Wisest Learners. He actually co-authored those books. Ito, sobrang parang scientific ang he's an educational psychology PhD. Yung co-author niya, cognitive neuroscientist.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they can live in the clouds and we're going, ha? Natutuling na ako dyan. Ano yan? But they wrote it in a way that we can understand it. It's really brilliant. But in talking to Wallace, ang gusto namin is mas makwento. So we wanted to use yung mga story namin
Filipino style.
As parents, like, okay, and kami yung unang tataas ng kamay na mali kami dito. Etong mali namin, etong ginawa namin. Huwag niyo kaming gayahin dito.
Okay.
But this is now what the research says. And dito may mga tips din. So based on our stories and what the research says, here are some practical mga tips ba na pwede mong gawin that might be helpful for you. And then sa dulong-dulo ng bawat chapter, may mga tanong. We don't want the answers. It's para mapaisip yung magulang. Oh, tama ba yung ginagawa ko sa anak ko? Kasi tayo, di ba, we're so busy.
Yes.
And then our kids are so busy.
Yeah.
Eh minsan, you don't have time to stop and think na, anong ginagawa ko rito? Tama ba yung ginagawa ko dito? So, the questions are just to get you thinking, pagdating sa motivation, ano kaya? Am I doing this right? Am I helping them? Pagdating sa modeling, am I modeling the right stuff? So there's a separate set of questions at the end of each book just to get you to think about your own kids.
How big a percentage of it, gaano karaming magulang na parang pinipilit nila yung anak nila na, the kid doesn't really want to play basketball or whatever sport that is. And how big a percentage of it is the parent wanting to see their success in their children?
Any percentage is too big.
Yes.
If that's the case. Sa nakita ko dito, kasi parang, di ba, parang dalawang bansa natin eh. I'm Filipino, but I'm not Filipino. But I'm American, but I feel like more connection with the Filipino culture. So I've seen it in both.
Yeah.
Na siguro, I don't have the exact number. Maybe 10% of the parents, tinutulak talaga nila masyado yung mga anak nila na ayaw or either ayaw or parang hindi bagay sa sport na yan.
Okay.
So, and so they're not having fun. But at the same time, minsan, kailangan natin i-nudge ba? Itulak ng konti, soft, gentle lang. Di, kaya mo yan. Kasi yung takot nila, sometimes there's kids who are scared to join. Yung pala, magiging best para sa kanila itong sport na yan. And they need us to encourage them and join them and say, go ahead. We talk about that in the book at one point. There's different ways to motivate your kids. And in different contexts, minsan kailangan sabihin mo, hindi, nag-commit na. Kailangan tapusin mo itong season na to. You have to put your foot down. Other times you can just say, hey, what do you think about trying judo? I think you'd be great. And there's everything in between. So
yeah, I had that same experience with my sons. Yung dalawang anak kong lalaki na halos lahat ng sport, wall climbing, aikido, swimming, and they still ended up doing basketball. How can you tell, halimbawa, yung bata nagsimula sa basketball, tapos nagsawa na, he got tired of it, wants to do something else?
So there's a phrase I really like, and it talks about, it's in the Bible, it talks about drawing the hearts of the fathers to the sons and the sons to the fathers. Now, we use that phrase because we're both fathers, but it's really for parents and kids. I have a daughter also. So we want to enhance the relationship. Something really hard for me happened. And in October, my father had a stroke.
Yeah.
I was writing this book, and I was sitting in his hospital room. Mga 2 a.m. na eh.
Yeah.
And I had to write the epilogue. And I had a thought. And it was, this is the epilogue. Tatay ako, pero nag-umpisa ako. Naanak mo na ako. And I'm looking at my dad, and sobrang grateful ako sa tatay ko. Mahal na mahal ko siya. Not everybody has that same relationship.
Yes.
And I realized it's between 2 and like 3:30 a.m. I'm typing up this epilogue. When I'm there, when I'm in bed, and I'm on my deathbed, or it wasn't my dad's deathbed, but whenever that time comes for me, I hope my kids feel the way about me that I do about my dad.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, this is it. It's all about the relationship. There's nothing more important than family. And so, okay, if your kid, sabihin natin siya yung unang maglalaro sa NBA, yung unang Pinoy, tuwang-tuwa tayo, he never talks to you again.
Yeah.
Is that worth it? You have to judge. For me, it would never be worth it. I want to spend time with my kids. I love them. They've got so much potential. They're so bright. They're so fun to be around. I care about that.
And they grow up so fast.
Oy! Last summer, yung kaibigan, we all went camping.
Yeah.
And my son's best friends, they're from India, the family. And the one guy calls me coach. He said, the dad, sabi niya, Coach, we only have 6 summers left with Eamon and Jonathan.
Yeah.
I went, why'd you say that? I don't like that, Todd. That's not
Not gonna be a
okay.
baby boy anymore.
Yeah, kaya nga eh.
diba?
So it does. It really, you know better than I do because your kids are grown.
Yeah.
But it goes so fast, and so you want to have the intensity. Diba?
Yeah.
Kanina we were just talking about kung gaano ka-intense yung emotion natin, yung emotion nila sa sports.
Yeah.
You don't want that to be a wedge and a place of pain. You want it to be a place of good memories, whether they're successful or not. The success, I understand. We all want good things for our kids. But karamihan, hindi rin naabot sa UAP, hindi rin naabot sa NCAA, sa kahit anumang sport.
Yeah.
Like, I hope they all do, but it doesn't work that way.
No.
Diba? Konti lang yung mga pwesto. So if that, what are they, failures? If they didn't make it, sa akin, hindi eh.
Yeah.
Did they get character out of it? Did you build memories? Do they want to come back on Sundays for family dinner?
Yeah.
Right? That's
Because you'll be there.
Yeah, kaya nga eh.
Diba? So I actually had that same conversation with James Martinez. He was on the show last week, and he said, I only played in the PBA for a couple of seasons, but that doesn't mean life ends when you're no longer in the PBA.
Right.
Right? I mean, you were in the NBA, won championship with Romel, Adupol, Gilbert Demape, all these guys, and you were the MVP. You were known as the Heartbreaker. You ended up in the PBA, but life didn't end after that.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I mean, imagine having 3 kids and and thinking, is my life over? Definitely not.
Yeah.
Right?
And actually, that's why I'm not coaching in the States. Kasi lahat ng mga kaibigan ko dun sa States na nag-coach sa college or sa NBA, lahat, bawat isa, nagsabi sa akin, I love the game. I hate how much I'm gone from my family.
Yes.
So, when I was coaching in the PBA, kahit halos lahat ng mga laro namin, nasa Manila talaga. Even though I was physically present, my mind was so I wasn't fully there.
It's
because
obsessive.
I'm looking at my wife and my kids, and they're talking to me, and I'm thinking, when do we double Junmar? Is it first dribble? Is it before he even catches the ball? Is it when they're inbounding the ball in the full court? Like, how do we get? Like, I'm trying to problem solve the whole time, and then so if it was already hard enough to be mentally present, if I was not even physically present, sabi ko, ayoko na. I want to be here and be here for them and find work where I can be around and enjoy them growing up.
So what did you decide to end up doing while you were in the States?
Well, actually, we started a company that's very, sa akin, very me. Parang isang paa sa each side of the Pacific. And that is, we help American companies hire Filipinos for remote work.
Nice.
So we have, of course, sa sobrang tagal ko rito, no?
Yeah.
Parang ang dami kong kaibigan. That there are partners here.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So our partner Patricia Castro, she has her own company, and then she hires people. It's just sort of a bridge, and I get to be an advocate for Filipinos over there and say, oh, you don't know what you're missing, man.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make you bad.
Yeah.
But K through 12, the medium of instruction's English.
Yeah.
As a general populace, the Filipinos much more tech savvy than us in the States.
Yeah.
And
we try. There was a time when Nokia was #1 in the world. All their cell phones came to the Philippines first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My best friend came to visit me during the MBA in 2000. He's like, what is this stupid texting thing? Right? He just kept complaining the whole time. Man, you just keep pressing all these buttons on your Nokia.
Instead of just calling.
Right? And so I'm like, it's more expensive. And he's like, that's stupid. I'll never do that. He texts me all the time. He's been texting me all the time for 15 years, right? So he saw it here first. And a lot of that happens. So we get to tell the American company, like, look, we can save you money on wages for the remote work. We don't bring people over.
Yeah.
So you can have more money to hire people hybrid or in person.
Okay.
But on our side, we get to help Filipinos get higher paying jobs.
Yes.
So,
Great.
it's a slow build, but we've been able to help some companies, and we hope we continue to do so because, it's nice. Those are my 2 countries.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and how long were you gone from the country?
Left from COVID. So on April 30, 2020, we took a flight. Because I'm sure, like a lot of people listening, you have kids, you're in a condo, they can't go outside.
Yes.
And sabi ko kay Mrs. Kasi foreigner ako, di ba? Si Mrs. din, yung pala, part Irish siya.
Yeah.
So she has an Irish passport.
Okay.
So she's really Filipina, grew up here her whole life. But she also was considered a foreigner. And then our kids, even though they're Filipino, are a foreigner. Only foreigners could leave. Sabi ko sa kanya, babe, Hindi kung punta tayo kay mommy and daddy, my parents.
Wisconsin.
In
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Then at least the kids can play outside. We might not be able to be around anybody, but they can see the sun
Yeah.
and then get grandma and grandpa time. Tumatanda naman ang magulang ko. So she said, yeah, let's go. I said, okay, let's go 2 months. She goes, no, let's go 3 months. This might take a little bit.
Yeah.
So we got stuck there. And then we got stuck and there was no PBA. There was no, and it's like, okay, I guess we're moving. So we had to file her immigration paperwork. But wala sa plano.
Yeah.
So ang dala namin, tig-isang maleta. So
Lahat na iwan dito.
lahat. So I was like, oh, we don't have forks or anything or a home or pillows or ang biro ko sa kanya, sabi ko, babe, dapat mag-renew ng vows tayo para may registry. Diba? So people can buy placemats and forks and plates.
All
We didn't
the
have
house
any
stuff,
of that. Wala naman. So we really got stuck there and then we tried to make the most of it.
How big an influence were your kids dito sa libro mo?
Super. Actually, sa una, ayaw ko silang gamitin. Sabi ko, I have to protect them.
It's their privacy.
I don't want it. They're kids. I don't want somebody reading it and saying, oh, he made a mistake. And then, talagang siguro, halos isang taon. Wala. And then I realized, like, man, this really is the best story when he did this.
Yeah.
So, kinausap ko si Mrs. Sabi ko, okay lang siguro, no? Kung tatanungin ko si Eamon kung gagamitin ko yung story. Sabi niya, tanong na lang siya, pero siguro okay lang. I asked him, yeah, no problem. You sure it's going to be a book? People can read it. Yeah, it's okay. I was young.
Yeah.
He was okay. And ganon din sa pangalawa ko. No problem, Dad.
How old are your kids now?
13, 11, and 9.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
And so when they hit their teens, that's the worst.
Says a man of experience.
Yeah, that's when like, Dad, don't kiss me. My friends are here.
Oh, yeah.
What's this deodorant thing?
So my wife's a teacher at the school where all three of them go.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, bawal pala. I can't give him a hug or a kiss or tell him. I was like, you should call him, oh, baby boo-boo. I call him something like that just to mess with him.
Yeah. They won't come home.
Like, Mom, Dad, come on.
It's not cool.
Yeah, right.
It's not cool. This book of yours, up to what age does it cover? Because, like you said, different stages of development ng mga bata. Up to what age does it cover?
I would really say as long as they're with you, but not if they live with you till they're 35.
Okay. In your basement.
Yeah, okay. So, sa akin, it's really, it can be for the pro athlete who has a kid who's going to be 6'8" and, baka talagang maging NBA.
And wants to be a jockey.
yeah, 280 pounds. Kawawang kabayo. But yeah, no, it can be for but it's really more for everyone.
Okay.
The whole idea is if we can take a pause and stop and think, ba't ginagawa ko to? So, gumana siya last year. Bagay ba siya this year? Saan ba siya? Saan ba ako? How can I think more intentionally and have a little bit of a plan? Diba? Kung, if you're going to start a business, you have a business plan.
Yeah.
If you're going to, a lot of people will do what we call premarital counseling, which is very good before you get married. So, yun pala. We should have talked, we just avoided a fight there.
Yeah.
In the same way, dapat may plano tayo para sa mga anak natin. And it's not exactly, how are they going to be a gold medal badminton player? Or how are they going to be the best Azkal ever? Or how are they going to be It's, how do I raise them? How do I teach them character? How do I maximize their sport experience? How many is too many sports? Baka they're doing, like you said, your kids, diba? Maraming sports. Maybe they're doing 3 sports, but they're 15.
Yeah.
And it's decision time.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it. Let's get them ownership. What does that look like? So, yeah.
How do you, anong payo mo sa mga magulang na, let's say their kid is he loves basketball, but basketball does not love him back.
Right.
How do you break that down? How do you, tell the child that maybe we should try something else?
Ang akin dyan, as long as he can make the team and wants to play,
Okay.
ba't mo pipigilan?
Okay.
We write in our chapter on leadership kasi marami sa atin, mga magulang, we're concerned about developing our kids as leaders. You can learn to lead from the back.
Okay. Yeah. I also teach that in my team buildings and corporate training.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can be, bangko talaga ako. 12 ang player. Akong pang 12. Akong pinakahuli. But you can get a ton from the team. And it's crazy how many people have become amazing leaders and they played sports, but they barely played,
That's true.
right? So,
Most of the best coaches were bench
oh,
warmers.
for sure, because you get to look, think, watch how interactions, galit siya, hindi maganda yung interaction nila dahil sa yung how he said, like, you should be doing this, or this player. You see all these things play out, and you get to think about them. A lot of the best leaders come from the bench.
Yeah.
And so,
this is what the Alaska culture, and and Sean Chambers and I talk a lot about be a superstar in your role.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Absolutely. And that's, sa akin, that's a huge value of team sports. Is, okay, you want to be successful, great. That is always subject to us first.
And
It's
how
a
do you-
team sport.
And how do you define success?
Right,
Right? It's not you scoring 30 points but the team loses.
right.
Yeah, so it's the team winning.
That's one of the things we want to do for parents in this book, is to help them to think, how do I define success para sa anak ko? What does that look like? Right? Is it, kailangan mag-scholarship ka, o hindi,
Yeah.
failure ka? Maybe you want to think about that.
What are you hoping? In the Filipino setting, what are you hoping the book will accomplish?
I really hope that it helps parents think about some of their practices that, though well intended, might not be appropriate at this stage. And so to just think, it's, again, Kevin and I, kaming unang tataas ng kamay. Ang dami naming halimbawa, ay, mali pala yan. Right? So it's
Learn
not
from
like
your mistakes.
Yeah, it's not like, we're the experts, we've never screwed up. Hindi. We've made our mistakes. But if you can stop and think and go, okay, wait. Ba't natin to ginagawa? How are we doing? And if, more than anything, if we can prevent some of the painful stuff that comes around youth sports just by intentional thought, and prevent some of that pain. Because sometimes we say stuff as parents na mas matindi sa suntok, mas matindi sa palo. You say something, and I know people who are 70 years old,
And
are
they
like,
remember.
my dad said this to me when I was 11.
Yeah.
And it's out of our emotion, not because we want to hurt them.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we can deepen and build really good memories around a fun time, instead of having some real pain.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, it took me a very long time to understand where my stepdad was coming from, because he was very old school. That children do not talk unless they're told to, and stuff like, you cannot have an opinion.
Right.
My house, my rules, and all of those things. What about this? This view that parents nowadays, especially Gen Z and so on and so forth, are soft on their kids, are soft in general, and it's gonna be passed on to their kids.
So it's a great question. We actually discuss it in the book. So we do use some psychological studies. So I'm not a nerd. I'm a wannabe nerd. So I have a lot of friends who are nerds. But that's part of what's great about being on the Wisest Learners team. We have literal PhDs.
Wow.
Who will look through stuff, and we talk, and then we talk about studies. So there's one study that talks about 4 quadrants of parenting styles. Without going through all of them, always the best and most effective quadrant to be in is something called authoritative, not authoritarian. And what that means is the parents are very warm, they're loving, they're affectionate, but there's boundaries. Don't cross this line. Right? Kids need boundaries. They actually need them. So kung sasabihin mo lang, wag mong gawin yan ha, tapos paulit-ulit, wag mong gawin yan ha, baliwala yung sinasabi mo. Kailangan may boundary, kailangan may consequence, kailangan enforce mo agad. Right? Para clarify mo lahat, kung ito ang gagawin mo, ito ang mangyayari. Ginawa mo, ito ang mangyayari. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't love them. You still love them up and hug them. Now, I did a ton of things wrong at Alaska. I definitely did. I did some things right, but there's a lot I could have been better. I was a first-time coach, right? But I always told the guys, like, hey, if you screw up, it's my job to tell you and hold you accountable. If you do a great job, I'm going to be your biggest cheerleader. But you're going to know it. And I think in parenting, it's a lot like that. Now, sometimes parents who are warm and loving feel like they're being mean if they enforce consequences. Sometimes people who have consequences feel like they're being soft if they're loving. The best parenting usually comes with both. You have both, and that's just a lot of research behind that.
Okay. What about what's your stand on physical punishment? Kasi dito uso yung pinapalo ng tsinelas yung bata or sometimes anything the parent can grab and they hit their kid with it.
So funny you brought that up because Wallace and I, he's one of my closest friends, the Ed Psych PhD. We've just spent about 3 hours yesterday talking about that.
Okay.
And the one thing in parenting is may kanya-kanyang style. Yung anak mo. Hindi ko anak. Ikaw si tatay, ikaw si nanay, ikaw ang bahala dyan. Right? We try to share and get you thinking and do what you think's best. In my opinion, clearly communicated boundaries, that there have been repeated warnings. You don't go first to the hitting, right? You don't go first to the spanking. But if you are somebody who believes in physical punishment and you say that's a possible consequence, then you have to follow through with the consequence.
Or else you look bad.
Something really important, yeah, because you need to say...
It's the integrity.
It's absolutely integrity. They can trust you said this will happen. And that matters to the kids. Now, a good thing to do if you are going to enforce physical punishment is pause. Ang problema minsan,
Galit na eh.
pinapalo natin na habang talagang galit na galit tayo.
Yes.
And that's not the right way. And so, if you can recognize, galit talaga ako dito, grabe naman, talagang, bawal yan sa atin! You know, di ba? You have that feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, okay, go to your room. I'm going to try to breathe and maybe tear down a few trees.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm so angry. And get it out and stop. And then I'm still going to go.
Okay.
But pagkatapos, kung gagawin mo yan, ang tawag dyan, restorative. What I would say, and from what I know of studies, you don't physically discipline them and then silent treatment 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's worse.
Right. You physically, if you're going to physically discipline them, if you do that, then afterwards they need to know, you're my son. I love you. That's not okay, but I'm disciplining you because I love you. I forgive you. Let's go back.
Okay.
So, yeah.
It's a big part of that is separating the person from the action and the doer and the deed.
That's great,
That's
Bill. Yeah.
something also I teach a lot in particularly in the corporate setting. You know, you hate this person, but actually when you boil it down, it's just they made a couple of mistakes,
Yeah.
or they didn't know better.
Right.
You know, so you don't. If you attack the person, there's no redemption from that.
Right.
If you attack the action, then they can repair the behavior or change the habit.
Completely. I mean, that's so wise and so important because we personalize stuff so much. You know, it's such a personal, interpersonal culture. Ang taas ng EQ ng Filipino.
Yeah.
We can get, but we can attach. Ganyan siya eh.
Yeah.
Baka nakamali lang. Don't attribute that to that's how they're going to be the rest of their life. Lalo na sa mga bata. They can learn. So that's a great point. I love it.
So, maybe a couple of last questions. What did you miss most about the Philippines?
Ayun, we were just talking about relationships. Seeing old friends. I mean, I don't know how long I've seen you, but
Yeah.
did you cover, I mean, our first, you weren't a rookie, but I was a rookie.
Okay.
And you were covering games.
Yeah, 98.
So literally from when I came in the country, I've known you.
Yeah.
And, you know, we weren't close right away. It was
Yeah.
new, but I got to know you and see you over the years.
Yeah,
We've done interviews.
Frank
we've done-
called me a couple of times when I was in Bacolod, just because you knew how to speak Tagalog already. And you know, we were on the road a lot together. Yeah. And you know, we experienced a lot of things also at the same time, and it was something, you know, you don't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who are you still in touch with among the old NBA guys?
So I messaged Romel before I was coming. I've still got to get together and schedule that. It's hard with all this.
Yeah.
Messaged Pedro Martin.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Oh, he pranked you a couple of
Oh,
times.
boy, did he. I can't even tell you on air what things that he had me say.
Exactly. I remember. What about, you know, being in the U.S. now, you have your family there, you have your own, you know, support system, your network there. How are you ingraining Filipino culture with your kids?
That's a great question. So, sa amin ni Mrs., it's really take the best of both cultures.
Okay.
So, we want to, like Filipinos are great about respecting your elders,
Yes.
which is a value we hold.
Okay.
So, may mga ibang magulang kasi, sasabihin nila sa mga bata, mga kaibigan ng mga anak nila, oh, just call me Bill.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't you dare call him Bill.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Velasco to you.
Yeah.
And I would go and say, hey, Bill, I totally understand it. I just want him to really learn to
Yeah.
respect authority. It's a cultural thing for us,
Yeah.
right? And we say po at the end of each word. So
Okay.
we just want him to carry over that, like, you're a grown man.
And they understand it.
Yeah. Right. And it's like, I don't have a problem with you, but I want him to learn to honor you.
Yeah. Like my daughter, she's in grade 7 here in UPIS, and her best friend, nagmamano sa akin, and I said, it's something I'm gonna have to get used to again. I haven't experienced that in a while. And she said, well, that's what my parents taught me. And that's something that even if nobody else does it, but it's the right thing to do, you should do it.
Yeah. So those values, right? There's a lot of things. And then, this is my opinion, but of the cultures, I've been around the world a bit, and I haven't studied all of them, but I would say Filipino cultures have the highest EQ, like the highest emotion. Like, people are so sensitive and aware of others' feelings. It's one of the reasons why I think Filipinos make the best caregivers, nurses, and doctors.
Sure.
It's not ESP. It's just a high EQ. They're really acutely aware of nonverbal cues. They understand how people are feeling on a different level, and so it makes them great caregivers. But sometimes that strength becomes a weakness.
Yes.
Madaling ma-offend.
Yeah. And you become a people pleaser.
Right. Yes, you can go a few different ways with it, right? So we want our kids to be sensitive, but not easy to be offended.
Okay.
Right? Try to pick up, how do you think someone else would feel about that?
Yeah.
Did you think that was right? Sometimes us Americans, now I'm talking about me, not the rest of my family, us Americans can be pretty direct and think, what? And you're like,
that's
come
normal.
on, man, you're clueless. You said that. You don't realize the impact of what you just said. And so we can screw that up. So we want our kids to be aware of how other people might feel and be able to communicate in ways that won't maybe offend some people.
All right. Give the people about all the details about your book. Where can we buy it?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, so it's at Fully Booked. We had a book launch.
The title is?
The title, it's important, right?
Yes, of
It's
course.
important to say, is Guiding Your Child's Athletic Journey.
Okay.
And the whole idea is a journey you're going on together,
Okay.
right? And so most of the time as parents, we're driving. So Guiding Your Child's Athletic Journey, it's at Fully Booked. It'll be at Fully Booked, I think, nationwide. And then it's on Amazon. So if you're someone who likes to use a Kindle, you can, and then it's on Amazon in the US.
All right, mga kaibigan, si Alex Compton, always a pleasure to have you around. Alex.
Great seeing you, Bill.
Ngayon naman, nasa linya po natin ang coach ng Philippine Powerlifting Team na si Coach Eddie Torres, at pag-usapan natin ang naging kampanya ng bansa sa Asian Sub-Juniors, Junior at Juniors Powerlifting Championship at Asian University Cup. Coach Eddie, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Bill.
Okay, let's talk about yung Asian Sub-Juniors at Juniors Powerlifting Championships. Paano yung naging preparation ng team sa competition na ito?
Yeah, bale yung mga atleta may mga kanya-kanyang mga coaches. So I wasn't the only one, no? Maraming nako-contribute yan. Ako lang yung one of the 3 na sumama, no? So I can't really speak for the training of everyone, pero yung mga ina-assist ko, tuloy naman training nila, wala namang tigil yan kahit may laban o wala. But with the help of their individual coaches, and naabot naman nila yung mga medals na pinapangarap natin.
I see. And Coach, in some circles, sinasabi nila pag bata hindi daw dapat nagbubuhat ng mabigat. Anong edad ba nakakapag-umpisa mga bata sa powerlifting?
Actually, pag kaya nilang gawin na yung mga movements, pwede na. Kaya lang, siyempre, the coach has to take care na hindi naman mabigla, no? Yung mabigat ka agad. Gradual increase. Ang youngest powerlifter natin ngayon ay 5 years old.
Wow.
And she's lifting about 1.5 times her body weight already. Pero siyempre, mag-umpisa yan sa napakagaang muna na weight.
Okay. Paano kayo pumipili ng mga athletes? Paano nyo nakikita yung potential ng bata?
Well, may mga iba naman na nakikita mo malakas ka agad. Medyo target na kaagad yan na pwedeng potential sa future. Yung mga iba kasi medyo late humihinog, no? But ano yan there's no one way to see sino may potential. Mga iba later on na nakikita. Minsan kailangan lang ng magaling na coach para malabas yung potential. So hindi naman agad-agad nakikita yan. But syempre like almost any sport naman, sa umpisa meron ka ng mga nakikita mga may potential na not necessarily sila rin in the future. Kailangan syempre matuloy-tuloy nila, and then pag may lumabas na bago, baka mag-iba yung mga pwedeng mga kasama sa Philippine team.
Okay, how long does it take pag nagsimula ang isang bata hanggang sa makarating ng international competition?
Well, there is a minimum age to compete internationally. It's 14 years old. But about 10 or 15 years ago, nagpasahan ko yung what they call the developmental category. Lahat ng mga powerlifter na below the minimum international age, we have a separate category for that. Para pag-abot ng 14 years old, yung medyo hinog na, no? In terms of how long it takes for them to get ready, actually, ang powerlifting, it's, I won't say naman brute force, no? But compared to weightlifting, the factor of strength over technique is a lot bigger. Sa weightlifting kasi ang laki ng factor ng technique, aside from being very strong. So sa powerlifting, mas maaga nakakapasok dahil the technique is easier to learn.
Okay. What are yung mga susunod ninyo na international competition na pinaghahandaan?
Well, there is the World Games. The World Games in August, where we will have 3 athletes there, 2 regular athletes and 1 reserve. And after that, almost immediately after that, we'll be having the World Junior, Sub-Junior Powerlifting Championships, where we will see a lot of those who perform very well itong Asians. We will see them in Costa Rica at sa Worlds.
Okay. Yung pag sinabi kasing powerlifting, sa ibang sport kasi, halimbawa, bodybuilding and others, you can only peak mga 2 to 3 times a year. Sa powerlifting, ganun din ba?
For me, you can compete more often than that. Although some competitions may be training meets in preparation for another meet. So pwede naman more than 3 times a year. Basta't nasa ipoprogram mo lang na for example, for a competition, ang ginawa namin dati, there was a competition 2 or 3 weeks before. So parang yung training competition in preparation for the meet, pinapatibay yung loob, pero not quite 100% ang buhat kasi ayaw naman nating masunog sila before going to the main targeted competition.
Okay. Gaano ka lakas ang Pilipinas kung ihahambing natin sa ibang bansa sa Asia?
Sa Asia, we are one of the strong teams. Kasi maraming weight class, no? May mga malakas na in some weight classes, and then yung ibang teams malakas sa ibang weight class. Sa age group din, bago-bago, but I would say the Philippines is among the strong ones in Asia. Marami tayong mga Asian record holders.
Okay. Sino malalakas sa kalaban natin sa Asia?
Ang malakas dyan, in Kazakhstan,
Wow.
Iran, Chinese Taipei, Indonesia. Those are probably the main ones. And then Japan then is also very strong.
I see. Kasama ba kayo sa Southeast Asian Games sa December?
Hindi pa. We are hoping to get there. Ngayon kasi out of the 11 Southeast Asian countries, meron ng 7 who are into powerlifting.
Okay.
So we're hoping that...
Anong kailangan mangyari para makasama yung sport nyo?
Well, we have to get the agreement of several countries. Ang mahirap kasi dyan, pagka yamado ka, di ba, minsan ibang countries ayaw. unless you are a regular sport na parang part of the what is normally put up there, na hindi basta pwedeng tanggalin. Pero dito, A few countries want it, for sure, Philippines, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia. Kaya lang, minsan, ang tatanungin ng mga ibang bansa, yung mga NOC sa nila, makakakuha ba tayo ng maraming medals dyan? Kasi I think normal naman na pinipili ng host country kung saan sila malakas.
Okay. Anong long-term plan natin para sa powerlifting team? How long can an athlete stay and hanggang saan ang target ninyo?
Powerlifters will peak minsan in their 40s pa eh. Mahaba ang career ng powerlifter. Huwag lang ma-injure. We've had many powerlifters at their prime in their 40s. No? They make the best lifts of their lives. When they're that age. Siyempre mag-iingat ka lang kasi mas matagal makarecover sa mga injuries. No? But there was even a time when majority of the national team were over 40 years old. So mahabang career niyan. Yung mga bata ngayon, they're only in their teens or 20s. They have decades ahead of them pa to get better.
Okay. Ano naman ang percentage ng mga atleta natin na kapag nagsimula na sa powerlifting ay tumutuloy-tuloy sila? Kasi wala namang masyadong professional powerlifting lalo na dito sa Asia eh.
Well, to be frank naman, hindi ganun kadami naman. But I would think a big, maybe half of them will continue into the sport. May mga pumapait naman na iba. And some powerlifters actually also came from other sports na tumigil sila doon pumunta sa powerlifting. So, medyo may konting riga doon. Kasi yung mga ibang athletes na talaga mahilig sa sports, hahanapin nila what is the best for them. And sometimes powerlifting is part of that route they take. Sometimes it's the end of their journey na doon sila napupunta talaga.
Okay. What do you look for? No? Anong hinahanap nyo sa isang atleta na gustong sumubok ng powerlifting?
Aside from the issue na may pinakitang strength potential, kailangan din syempre yung character yung character ng atleta. It's not enough to be strong. You also have to have good character.
Okay. And at the end of the day, no, halimbawa yung bata gustong magsimula ng powerlifting, paano nyo napapatuloy-tuloy na yan pag nahirapan? Kasi kahit anong sport, di ba, pag nahirapan yung bata, minsan ayaw na, or let's say, nahirapan mag-aral at saka mag-train ng sabay. Paano nyo napapanatili na yung bata hindi umaayaw sa powerlifting?
We try to do a lot of competitions na marami silang pwedeng masalinan is one. We encourage them, and then we let them know that if they do well, they can make it the Philippine team and bring honor for our country. But most of them, frankly, are under private coaches. No? Ilan lang naman ang pwede sa national team. So we just try to give them more opportunities to compete, to show what they can do.
Okay. Are there, mayroon bang lugar sa Pilipinas na mas maraming kayong natatagpuan na powerlifter? Kasi halimbawa, syempre, pag sinabi mong mixed martial arts, sa norte yan, no? Sa Benguet. Pag sinabi mong archery noon, Dumaguete talagang hanapan ng mga atleta. Meron bang lugar sa Pilipinas na mas maraming nahihilig sa powerlifting?
Well, in terms of the number of powerlifters, pinakamaliit talaga sa NCR.
Okay.
But sa Philippine team, so far, ang pinakamalaki portion ng Philippine team ay galing sa Visayas.
Oh, okay. Is there a reason kung bakit doon galing?
I'm not sure. Baka ano yung mga circumstances that lead to that. I would think naman na buong bansa natin evenly distributed yung mga potential. It's just that maybe sa NCR may ibang priorities, no? But I'm just making a guess here. I think naman equal lang distribution naman ng natural strength sa bansa.
Okay. Bilang isang coach, no, gaano kadalas kayo kailangan mag-update ng kaalaman ninyo at saan kayo pumupunta para matuto pa lalo ng coaching sa powerlifting?
Well, we share what we learned from the past several decades, and open naman tayo sa mga new developments, no, sa knowledge. We have some young coaches also who get updated. We share. Wala man tayong monopoly dun sa knowledge. And then some of us, we go to international coaching seminars. We just had one a month ago, conducted by the International Powerlifting Federation. We sent 3 Filipino coaches there. So we learn from our experience, we pick up from research, and also attend some overseas training by our international federation.
Okay, immediately, Coach, what's next? What are you preparing for? What's the succeeding competition?
Internationally, yung World Games and the World Junior Sub-Juniors. Halos makasunod. The World Games will be in Chengdu, China in around mid-August, and then the World Junior Sub-Juniors will be in late August. Magkasunod. Yun ang pinaghahandaan. We have 2 separate groups for that. Of course, in the World Games, we have our yung top open lifters doon. And then sa World Jump Sub-Juniors, juniors and sub-juniors, nandun yung mga best age groupers natin. But make no mistake, these age groupers are competitive in the open category. Yung sa Asian level, definitely competitive. Sa Worlds, very close, yung nakaka-top 10 yung iba. So those are the 2 events na pinaghahandaan natin, pinakamalaki.
Okay, so I guess the future is really bright for powerlifting. Thank you very much, Coach Eddie. Thank you for being on Hardball.
Okay, salamat, Bill.
You're tuned in to Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At bago tayo magpaalam, lagi nating pinapakita na meron tayong attitude of gratitude. Maraming salamat kay Nanay Elena Fernandez, Christine De Leon, Alex Santos, Jason Reyes, Ryan Castro, Jimmy Nieva, Kurt Villanueva, Steph Manalo, Michelle Domingo, Rap Arca, Lisa Palma, Jimmy Alabanza, B. Casiano, Gab Ferreras, Julian Rafael Lapid, at Criel Orozco.
Hardball with Bill Velasco.
At yan po ang ating programa para sa araw na ito. Muli ang Hardball ay matutunghayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 11 na umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali. Dito lang po yan sa DWAN 1206 AM, the future of AM radio. Abangan ang tanghali na lang ang tapat kasama si Maan Makapagal. Muli, ako si Bill Velasco. Kita-kita tayo muli bukas.